Today's episode is with my man Koon Vega of Creative Vega. This conversation was in depth, fun. Words such as communist, socialist were used several times, and my man here came from Thailand, Bangkok. 2020 was a turning point for him. Became a citizen of the United States a year later. Congratulations on that. Thank you to our sponsors, M&D Drilling. You guys make this podcast happen. Kyle Golding, your podcast studio is beautiful. Martimus Lynch, thank you so much for our beautiful song. We love you. We approve this podcast.
I'm gonna stand, I won't be seated. Gonna hold my head up high and stay undefeated. Defining moments on this pod, 'cause I'm American by the grace of my good God.
Like in the history of mankind,
Yeah.
there's never been anything like this.
Yeah.
It's always been king and queen,
Monarchies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now it's...
Now, from the bottom up for the first time, right?
Yeah. That's
I love
true.
it.
That's true, man. Yeah.
Now we're about to lose it.
Well, you think so? Losing what? Losing what?
Losing the freedom, but going back, regressing.
Oh, okay. I see. Digressing from where...
Regressing from, like, we're going back to where we were as human,
Uh-huh.
as people. If we don't do anything, I'm not saying we're too late now. I'm not saying that we can't do anything about it. But there's power at B that's trying to take us down, because it doesn't like people to be prosper, to be free,
Mm-hmm.
and to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
That dark force is there, and it controls a lot of people. That has power to change a lot of things, but we're stronger.
Yeah. And when you say regressing, you're talking about... What do you mean? Like, in negative way, regressing?
Mm-hmm. It's because, okay, when you look back, like from the big picture, you go back, 40,000, foot view, looking down, you see the humanity, if you count from the history, if you can think of way back, the biblical time, say, even before that, when we have, become civilized.
Mm-hmm.
It's always kings and queens,
Mm-hmm.
always people of power,
Mm-hmm.
ruling down from above, right?
Sure.
But the United States is the opposite. Our forefathers started out saying, like, that's not going to work here.
Mm.
This is the land of the free. So we control the government instead of government controlling us.
Mm.
There's no kings and queens. There are people who are working for us as public servants.
Gotcha.
That's the idea. So the people has power to vote them in or vote them out.
Mm.
Now, slowly, bit by bit, that power is being chipped away from us without us knowing. So, the flag is to me, is like, it's a symbol of freedom, the true freedom.
Mm.
We've never had anything like that before.
Mm-hmm.
I love it because I want to be free.
Yeah.
I want to... Man, I didn't come to this country because of that, really. Because I came here because of a girl.
Let's talk about this.
Talk about this first.
Let's talk about this girl and your journey into America, leaving Thailand. And you had some big things happen for you, not just the kids, but something really big happened for you about three and a half years ago.
Yeah,
man.
Okay.
Let's get into this. But hey, before we do this, you talk about freedom, and we're a freedom loving podcast.
Yes.
How about this?
Oh man.
Cup of freedom.
Oh, undefeated.
That's right. That's you, man.
I love it, man.
All day.
Thank you. Dude, you're such positive energy. I love it. I'll soak it in entirely. I'll put it right here if it's in the shot. Yeah, thank you.
So let's talk about this girl.
Okay, this
Who's
girl.
this girl?
This girl, her name's Sarah, and I met her in Bangkok, Thailand, where I grew up. I was born and grew up there, Bangkok, Thailand, in the church. It wasn't only, well, I think it was the only Church of Christ church in Bangkok at the time. Maybe I'm wrong, but I grew up in the church, third generation Christian, and my church got a lot of Texans because it was established by a Texans in the 50s.
Like Texans from Texas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Bangkok.
In Bangkok.
Okay.
There's a couple came and started the church right in the heart of Bangkok. And so there's a lot of missionaries from Texans who come in waves, and we have an elder who's American, but he was born there in Thailand. But anyway, so there's a lot of Americans there, but kind of like Americans, Texas. It's almost like Thai people there is like, America is Texas. Like, that's all we know, right?
Hook 'em horns. Is that what they say?
Huh?
Did they say hook 'em horns?
No. I didn't get that part. So we learned a whole lot about America through Texas, through Texans. But then, like, I never paid attention to any girls from there, like, or But in 1999, this girl showed up, and I'm like, whoa, man, I don't know why, she's pretty. And I just so happened that it was the very first, her team, she came with a team called Let's Start Talking. It was the program started by OC, Oklahoma Christian University.
Okay.
And so I saw her. I think there were about like 7 of them, and they're supposed to be there for, I don't know, 8 weeks, something like that. And I met her when she had 3 weeks left. And so we liked each other, like, but I couldn't really speak English at the time.
Mm.
I kind of understand it and like nod and laugh. We listened to a lot of Smashing Pumpkins together, a lot. So that's kind of like, oh, that's kind of my kind of girl, like. But we liked each other, but we knew that nothing could come out of that because she had 3 weeks left, right?
Mm.
And so she left. I'm trying to kind of shorten it a little bit, but I'll point out some good details. She left, and I met another girl from Tennessee. I don't know, it just happened. So we dated, and I learned a whole lot about American Girl, right? She was lovely, but it wasn't it wasn't meant to be. I don't think that was the Lord's will.
Because she didn't like Smashing Pumpkins, that's why.
I guess so.
Okay.
But we try, but it wasn't there. It's not the Lord's will. But at the time when she left, Sarah contacted me back, like, hey, I'm coming back from South Korea, and then on my way back home, I want to relax a little bit, think it through what I want to do when I come back home. So, are you gonna be there in Bangkok? I'm gonna come and hang out for a little bit. Like, yes, absolutely. Excuse me, my nose is so stuffy.
Sorry, sounds like you're crying happy, so this is great.
Maybe, yes. So we got together. I picked her up at the airport, and by this time, my English was very good, so we were able to talk. And then, so we hung out for 3 weeks, and I basically like asked her, hey, what do you think about staying here for another 3 months, and I'll take care of you. Like, I'll put you find a place for you to stay with one of our, church members, and I'll support you financially, because we were thinking about, hey, maybe there's something that could happen. Let's try this. Don't do the same thing we did last time. Where we couldn't do anything about it in 1999. But let's find out. If it's not, it's not. If it is, it is, right? So she decided, yeah, she said yes, okay. So we dated for 3 months, and I proposed to her at the end. I stayed in Bangkok, and she went to one of the islands in South Thailand, and we fasted for three days. And then when she came back, we basically we fast because I asked God, we asked God if we are for each other or not. So when we came back together, it was a yes.
Wow.
So we got married, and we lived there for about 8-9 months.
Uh-huh.
And she missed her family, so talking about moving over here. So we did.
So what's a culture like in Bangkok? Was it a culture shock moving to? Did you move to Texas?
No, we moved to Earlsboro.
Is that in Oklahoma? Oh, Earlsboro, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
Dude, it was the most bizarre experience I've ever had. If you know Bangkok, it's a crazy city. It's downtown. Like, if this is downtown, you times it by 1,000. It's the downtown is endless in Bangkok. It keeps expanding. So I think it's about 12 to 14 million people there. So everything's busy. You don't get to see sunrise and sunset because the buildings will block everything. SkyTrain and traffic, people. It's super hectic. And I landed the first morning. I walked out of the house, Sarah's parents' house in Earlsboro. I've never seen the sky this big before. It was crazy, man. It was like, it's going to come down on me almost like, how can the sky be this big? It's crazy. But it was beautiful, and it was like, oh my goodness, I cannot undo this. I cannot Command Z this. I cannot do that. And now I'm here. And it's nothing but the plane and an unpaved road and water tower and some cows on the horizon.
Wow.
That was my what the heck have we done?
I like how you threw in Smashing Pumpkins, and then you just used Control Z to, you can't undo it. I mean, you used 1999 all the way to 2023 technology. Well done, buddy. That's pretty good, man. So
yeah.
You grew up in Bangkok, and it was obviously building skyscrapers, so you really couldn't enjoy the sunrise, sunset. You moved to Earlsboro, Oklahoma, and you could see it, and it was almost overwhelming.
It was overwhelming. Like, I think I was in that mode for the next month or so, like, about the sky thing. I get in the car. I couldn't drive at the time. Sarah would have to drive. I have to apply for the driver license. But I would go out and look up to the sky. I'm like, this sky's so big. Is it the same sky?
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking, really, it's a bizarre feeling. It started from there.
So was it hard to learn English?
It was really hard. I thought that my English was good when I was in Thailand. But when I got here and listened to the news, I'm like, why are they speaking so fast? They're speaking so fast. So I have to look at their mouth, like newscasters, like anything. I have to look at their mouth and try to figure out what they're saying to, connect the sound to the visual.
Uh-huh.
So I learned it that way.
Wow.
Now, sometimes I look at people's mouths more than their eyes. I try to change that.
Man, don't look at my mouth, dude. I have a nice room, bro. I need braces or something.
Yeah.
So when you said Smashing Pumpkins and you really didn't understand English or speak it, what did you like about Smashing Pumpkins?
It was well, I understand some, like, we only come out at night, some of the lyrics that you can catch
Gotcha.
as much as I could. I love the sound. I love the honesty. I love, the feeling of it. It's just like, what, you have friends that love the same music.
Mm.
Kind of like it, just kind of same tribe, like there's something connects us together.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like art connects a lot of people and brings people together.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Smashing Pumpkins song?
Man, a lot. We only come out at night. It's kind of dark,
Yeah.
but it's good. It's beautiful. Oh man, yeah. At the time, it was like, the butterfly wings. This is a long time ago. What's the name of it? I don't remember. And there's some new stuff that kind of darker, like, don't remember the name of the song, but
You like country music?
dang, no.
What?
I don't, no.
Dude, you landed in Earlsboro, Oklahoma, dating a Texan or married to a Texan.
I didn't grow up in the country.
Oh man, but you're like 20 years in now. Come on, man.
No, it's not my cup of tea.
Okay.
But I, some good, like, country music, that really good country music, I can enjoy.
Yeah.
What's the name of that guy who sang the national anthem? He play guitar, long hair, sunglasses. Chris Staples.
Oh, there you go.
That dude made me cry.
Yeah.
Like, he can sing that national anthem so beautifully. I cry.
What does a national anthem in America mean to you?
Oh, it's such a beautiful story. I'm about to cry right now just talking about it. Because I had to learn history of the United States to become a citizen, right?
Yeah.
So I became a citizen probably 3 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. After what? Almost 18 years of being just alien, permanent resident.
Mm.
So I learned the story, what happened, and the song that described what happened. People who were fighting for freedom, if they didn't win, they'll be considered treason.
Mm.
They'll be publicly hung, right? But a bunch of them took that risk, right? And like, hey, we can make a better land than the place we came from. That kind of, what you call it, you gotta be able to imagine it first. You can only do the maximum of what you can imagine. So those guys imagine new land as this good, that people will be governing from the bottom up instead of bottom top down, right? And they were fighting the strongest army in the world. Like, it's almost like crazy.
Yeah.
To go up against England then. It's not almost, it's crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
They have defeated so many countries, right? And now 13 colonies saying that we should govern ourselves. We're going to fight them and we're going to win. We might win. But we're going to take this risk. So the fight, the flag that stood overnight, it showed the strength of this country. The country can only be because of its people.
Mm.
The country because of the people. It's not the land itself. It's the people on the land. And the fighting spirit is still here, from what I understand. It's being weakened a whole lot by the communists, but we are waking up to the scheme and to the good values of this country. You know, there's so much into it that the national anthem is holding. Hope, its beauty, its strength, its tenacity to do crazy things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's American spirit, man. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
It's freedom to speak.
Mm.
Speak your mind. And, you know, like, when I was little in Thailand, when you talk about United States of America, you feel like that's a really good place to be. Like, people are free. They can say whatever they want. You know?
Mm.
Like, obviously there's consequences what you say, obviously, right?
Sure.
But you can speak however you want. You know, in most Asian countries, you don't have that.
Correct.
You're expected to keep your head down
Mm.
because the culture is very thick. There's expectation. So funny, my mom told me one story that, you know, talking back to older people is awful. It's like unacceptable.
Right.
Like, you should, even though you don't know them, if they're older, you should kind of be submissive. That's
Mm.
expected of you. Yelling at an old lady or a group of old ladies at the church Bible study is not cool. But that's exactly what I did. I was yelling at the ladies because I thought that they're laughing because I'm crying or whatever, the silly things. But all that to say was, like, I kind of, in my nature, I really cannot really fit in well with such thick culture because I love freedom. I feel like we all deserve freedom. You know, if you have to make it your own.
Mm.
I feel that way. Like, it's your life once. The first thing is your life, and you have one life to live.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you got to seek that freedom. It's God given right? And if you don't pursue it, you kind of wasting your time
Mm.
because you can do so much more compared to, you know, try to meet those expectations.
Has American culture changed from when you first arrived to current day?
Yeah.
How so?
You know, being the politically correct, the political correctness is killing the spirit of Americans, the free spirit.
Mm.
The precision of words playing in every avenue, every outlet, you know, Hollywood, news, talk shows, music. Like, it confines you.
Mm.
Now, I'll step back, like, hey, what is it? Where is it coming from? Who's the source of this? Who's trying to tell me that I cannot say this word or I'll be condemned, something like that. Like, oh, because there's an agenda, there's a trend going on. The trend is by design. Say, oh, it's such a harsh topic or sensitive topic, you don't talk about it, or you have to believe certain things, otherwise you don't look as smart. There's a lot of name calling. There's a lot of projection, kind of make you feel like, be careful, don't be so much.
When you came, but you came over to America so you can be yourself because of the freedoms.
Yeah,
And
that's
now
what
and now you're feeling suppressed.
I'm not suppressed.
You're not suppressed.
But I know what's going on.
Okay.
I was. Okay.
Okay.
I was suppressed.
Gotcha.
I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
To be good, to be correct, to be, loving. Like they put all those good words for you to, like, hey, follow what we want you to say, want you to believe, and you'll be okay. Don't stir things up. That's so un-American, man. Debate is really good, a big part of finding the truth.
Mm-hmm.
If you shut the other side down, don't let them speak, that's totalitarian. That's a dictator, right? America is about, let's find the truth. Let's debate. Let's talk about it. So when you see anyone who just want to shut you up or cancel you, you know that is against freedom that this country is for. That our forefathers were fought for us to be the United States of America. So I decided to speak up. I've woken up to what's going on in this country, and I'm like, I want to be part of the change. I want it to be the United States that I knew when I was little. What things that made in the United States, made in the USA, is quality. It will last a lifetime. Like you can boast with your friend, made in USA, baby.
Yeah.
Now you're like, made in China, breaks in a week, something like that. Like, I don't know why we have to send so many jobs and manufacturing jobs over there.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of know why, but that's
What do you
for
think?
another day.
What do you think? Why? Just a couple sentences. Why do you think that?
Well, maybe we can open a can of worms, but China is a communist country. It wants to take down the United States, which is the pillar of freedom, right? It says it in the document that they want to take us down, that we are their arch enemy. So I think that there are people in power over here colluding with the communist regime. Make it easy to manufacture anything. American ingenuity over there so cheaply. It's money, right? So American companies can make more money by paying less in production, do it in China. And then the Chinese say, like, in 10 years or in 12 or in 20 years, your technology is ours. As part of the deal, we're losing a lot just because of that. And I'm not even, there's a lot of infiltration in every aspect of the United States.
Yeah.
In education, in science, in politics, in local government.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a lot, man. It's a lot of fundings that it's just crazy. So I don't think China is our friend or even a competitor. They're our enemy.
Mm.
First of all, I don't agree with doing business with China, at least this close right now.
Sure.
You know, we used to not do business with communists, right? I think Jimmy Carter did it
Mm.
because he said for a good reason we might influence him to stop being communist. Look at it today.
Yeah.
They're infiltrated
Right.
in our country so much. So much. Yes, it's changed a lot. Sorry.
Yeah.
Good question.
Do you think political correctness, you mentioned earlier, has affected the way you communicate in your sector? You're into arts, you're into just very creative. You have your own company, right?
Yeah.
Creative Vega.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to dance around certain clients?
I was
because-
dancing around.
Yeah.
I was dancing around until, 4 years ago.
Really?
3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. Because I don't want to make people feel bad. That's a virtue signal. Like,
Mm.
you want to be the right person. You want to be a good person. You don't want to offend anybody.
Sure.
Right? There's always new things come up. Like this word, that word, this new trend. Like, but when I realize what's right with the truth, when I'm working up to it, I'm like, this is killing us.
Mm.
We're no longer people who are brave. This is like, this is the land of the brave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're no longer brave. We can't even speak our mind.
Because we're afraid to hurt someone else's feelings.
Yeah. And that's a trap. If you want to be free, you need to understand how to be free.
Mm.
I'm not saying like, say whatever to hurt people, but you can speak your mind. You should be able to.
And have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Whether it's business or a coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you feel like a lot of their conversations are not as genuine anymore?
People don't even talk about it.
Mm.
That's the thing. Let's not touch it. Let's just leave it alone. And then follow what we're told to talk about and not to talk about, or how you feel. Like during COVID, man, like if you don't wear a mask, you're just a douche. Like people look at you like you deserve some kind of if there's gulag you can send to, like they'll send you there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because you don't want to put the mRNA injection in your body, you don't believe that mask helps preventing virus, then you are evil.
Mm.
Okay? But at the same time, the government and the news canceling the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who said the opposite, they're vaccine deniers, or they are. You see this? It's very simple here when you look at it. When somebody cancels you, your opinion, there's no longer freedom here.
Yeah.
Like when you not allow both sides to talk, just one side, it's a dictator.
Mm.
That happens in communist countries. Who speaks up, whoever speaks up against the state in China, you'll get locked up and probably get your organ harvested and sell while you're alive.
Mm.
Because they make so much money. They don't care. You cannot speak up against the state. I mean, the government in China, man, I feel bad for Chinese people. You see that it's the same thing.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. You what you call it? You call them names. You project certain words into them, and then you paint picture to those people who don't think the same way you do.
Mhm.
Make them look stupid. Make them look terrible. Not like all whatever.
Yeah.
So to convince and hope that that most people would just like stay away from listening to those people. They're crazy. So that's un-American right now.
I do feel people, some are afraid to speak up because, not just because it hurts someone, quote unquote, hurts someone's feelings, but their jobs, their livelihood depends on it.
Yeah.
And if they speak up, they're afraid to get fired from the business,
Yeah.
or lose potential clients because of, quote unquote, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Feel like that sometimes?
No, I not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I used to feel like, okay, what this person believe, and I don't want to be offended. I don't want to offend him or her, to get a client or to get whatever. But the thing is that because that's based on my fear, I don't want to live in fear. Fear of not getting money, right? So the fear of losing and not being able to feed my children, take care of my wife. When you look at it, it's like based on fear. So people don't do that because they give into fear. Period.
Mm.
Period. That's nothing else, right? You can give me many reasons why you keep your head down and don't speak up, because you have a lot to lose. You take care of family, right? You could lose your job if you say something.
Mm.
I get it. I'm not saying that I'm not saying you're doing the wrong thing. It's conviction.
Mm.
It's individual conviction. When you look at soldiers, if you're gonna draft a group of people to go fight a war for freedom, if a soldier came to you and like, hey, I love freedom, but man, if I join the army, I might die. So I'm not gonna join.
Mm.
But I love freedom. I'm gonna go back to my family. And that's kind of what it is now. Like, you have to have a conviction. If you don't speak up. Period. Man, our forefathers had a lot to lose. They were well-to-do people,
Mm-hmm.
well-educated people. They had a lot of land, a lot of slaves. Like that's status, right? Back then. So I don't like slavery. So
Sure.
But they did it anyway because they believe in it. They have the conviction.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say we don't have a lot of conviction now.
Mm.
It has to come back. Because if you realize what we're up against right now, you're going to need conviction to be able to do that. You want to have conviction to do that because what's ahead if you don't do anything is really scary. Really scary.
As I'm listening to you speak, and you're talking about a few years ago, the COVID, vax, no vax, mask, no mask, shot or no shot, etc. And I'm just trying to tie this back to maybe not just geopolitical, but United States politics, current day. Do you feel President Trump has conviction?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I wasn't following politics much at all until his last year of his presidential
So in 2020, you started
administration. Yeah, I learned about him.
Mm.
I started learning about him, and before that, I was like, Obama rocks, man. It was good, He's black, he's cool, And just so happened that to me now, he's a traitor.
Mm.
He's the enemy that was sitting at the highest office.
Mm.
It's crazy, but I'm not for Obama at all. And now I learned about this guy who is a billionaire. He didn't need this at all, right? He didn't need to be attacked constantly for 7 years now. Since he walked down the escalator,
Mm-hmm.
announced his candidacy, the attack has been nonstop. When you look at it, why? Why does he have to go put himself and his family through that? There's no reason. He could be hanging out by an island and hang out. Don't have to do anything anymore. Money keeps coming. I think he's the only president that has he's worth less, after his presidency.
Mm-hmm. I believe you're correct. I'm not 100% sure, but
Yeah.
one or two. Yeah.
Obama made so much money, his net worth before his presidency, compared to the after Bush.
They're worth more.
They're worth more after presidency.
Right.
But Trump, with his net worth, is less, right? Mm-hmm. After. So I think this, if you study him, I read his book, The Art of the Deal, kind of know the man a little bit. A friend of mine, he didn't write it. It's like, well, obviously he's a busy guy. He has ghostwriter. That's ghostwriter. I mean, if you know what ghostwriter means, right?
Most of them are ghostwriters.
Yeah.
Have ghostwriters.
That's right. Well, he loves Joe Biden, so Joe Biden is ghostwriter writing his fake book. Anyway. Or memoirs. I never cared to read about that guy. But President Trump, I think he's one of the best presidents in our history.
Mm.
He didn't need this. He didn't have to run it. But I think his conviction is basically he couldn't stand to see this country goes down. He couldn't stand to see children being exploited and harmed by these people who are really bad.
Mm.
And I believe there's good people in power.
Sure.
That's really fighting to take our country back. That we don't know what's going on. Majority of people don't know.
So how does Koon Vega make an impact in his community on taking not just the country back, but more importantly for right now, your community back? How do you take your community? How do you make an impact?
Man, I just be what I need to be. Like, I just live how you would live in a free country.
Mm.
I speak my mind and also ask people to speak their mind.
Mm.
I'm braver more courageous,
Yeah.
and ask people to be braver and more courageous. We can talk with reasons
Sure.
instead of with emotion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah, that's how I go about changing it. And I speak just like here, like I speak to friends like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I care so much less about what people think of me now than before.
Wow. That's awesome. I feel like that's how you win, though.
Yeah.
It's being brave, like you said, being courageous, like you mentioned earlier too, and just speaking your mind, not saying and not being mean about it, but here's a conversation, and here's a substance
Yeah.
to certain topics that you may have.
Right.
I would say you're an independent researcher, and you go and try to dig up facts so you can have an intellectual conversation on certain topics. That's how I see you.
Thank you. I tried, and I think everybody should too, because the news we have now is basically propaganda. I think it should be obvious to a lot of people by now. That's.
Do you think though? I mean, your circle of friends. Do you think the news is propaganda? Or do they perceive it as propaganda? Is it obvious to them?
I don't know what they think. I know what I think.
Yeah.
Like I know exactly that the CNN and New York Times or even NPR or a lot of traditional news media basically feeding us lies. You don't get the whole picture. That's what they're counting on. They want you to like, don't ask questions, just listen. If you ask questions, hey, that's not right. Why are you asking questions? See this? We lay it out for you in New York Post, MSNBC, CNN. It's all saying the same thing. I'm like, I woke up to that. I was listening to and watch CNN. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. And I believe that they promote hate and division among people. And it's just so like, to me, that's the propaganda communist playbook. If you go study what the Nazi did in order to convince the Germans to agree to kill babies and like deformed people, or took them 7 years to do that. Propaganda on the news to save human race. That's the reason. So they kill babies that was born perfectly 100% with all the parts. They kill people with mental challenges, right? Did. And Germans okay with it. How can people from good understanding and value life become a group of people who just okay with killing innocent people and think that that's okay? We are vulnerable as human beings to propaganda, and these power at be know how to convince us from this life loving to regardless of life, like no value. It happened before, and this is not the first time that happened. So I'm talking about like straight up communism. It's cancer.
You've used the word communism quite a few times in the last 15 minutes. Do you feel that seeping in the United States somehow? Socialism? Do you feel that infiltrated?
Oh man, like full on right now. It's the battle that a lot of people haven't woken up to it. So when you look at it, like I talked to a 16-year-old kid. Oh no, 17-year-old kid.
Okay.
my friend's son. He's like, I said communism. Like, what's wrong with communism? I couldn't believe that I heard that.
He
said, what's wrong with communism?
Wow.
I'm sure if I say capitalism, he's probably like, no way. You see that our
Yeah.
This is huge. This is our future.
Sure.
Our kids are our future. If kids don't know what communism is, we already screwed right now. Seriously. That means they don't understand what freedom is. They don't understand what they have right now. They think socialism is the way to go. Like, there are people going out and march saying socialism is the cure. You guys, go study. Educate yourself. Is there any places in the world that communism and socialism flourish and people are happy?
Good question.
Zero.
Exactly.
There's none.
Right.
So these kids are being indoctrinated. So slowly. But now, it's like so obvious that, that 17-year-old kid was like, I can't believe it. He said that.
Well, leadership starts at home. I always firmly believe leadership starts at home.
Yeah.
So within your friend, his son, I presume it's his or her, I don't know. There's so many genders nowadays. Right. No, but him or her, it doesn't matter. There's only two. Leadership has to start at home. So are they missing out on education, or are these parents too busy doing other things, social media, working 10 jobs? I don't know what that might be. But there's a disconnect at home.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Like 1,000%. And that's the very institution that communists doesn't want us to have. Family. It needs to break the family, the bond of the family, and the bond of faith in order for this cancer to flourish. If there is the bond of family, the bond of faith, it can't win. So as long as it can make your parents separate, busy so much, working so much, social media, all these things that you like start popping up. You want to buy. You want to spend time on it. Take on vacation. Make more money. Obviously, your kid's not going to have enough of you. I mean, like, enough time with you. Even when you're there, you're not quite there because you're checking on your phone. And then you don't have time to talk to your kids about communism or freedom of this country. And as you know what? It's by design. Bill Cooper, he wrote a book, Behold a Pale Horse. And this is, okay. If you're going to do research, anything, don't use Google, okay? You know that Google will give you super biased stuff. I mean, like, should be known by now, like, to most people. If you go and research on Bill Cooper and read his book, it's going to blow your mind about what evil in our government has been doing to us in the past 60 years. And people need to wake up to it. Because you don't care what people call you. You shouldn't care what people call you. What you need to do is you go educate yourself and find out if that's true or not. Yourself. People just like opt into like, tell me what I need to know. I'll believe it. I mean, it's so obvious now that they don't have your best interest. Right? both government, the media, Hollywood, everything. If you go research for yourself, think for yourself, you got to do it. Like, ask questions. They have us exactly where they want us, where we just don't ask questions. We just get along. You should now start reading that book, research who Bill Cooper is, and prove that. Or if you have the goal of proving it wrong, go do it. Go do it. You got to seek the truth yourself. And then along the way, like me, you'll find friends. People who are smarter than you, have information that you don't have. You can share information they don't have that you do. I've been educating myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your turning point was 2020,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
2020 was your turning point, and then also that led into you becoming a citizen in the greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
My man. Love it.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations. That's huge. That's a big time journey.
Yeah.
And a journey that there's so many that want to take. And then there's quite a few that do it inappropriately, that the press is the one who's wanting to do it appropriately.
Yeah. Do it the right way.
Yeah.
Don't do it the wrong way. This country, so like, to me, this country is so generous, man.
Yeah.
Like, you can become a Thai, okay? You cannot go to Thailand and take a test and become a Thai. It's not a thing. You cannot become Japanese. No, you can't. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You become an American.
But you can become an American. So, I'm like, it took me 18 years to realize that, okay, this is my homeland.
Yeah.
Because my home is here, my family's here, right? So I decided to become a citizen. And it took a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta study, you gotta put time into it. And I've been told so many times that you know more about the United States of America than most Americans.
That's probably true.
Yeah, I can see that now. I didn't know that at the time, but dude, I know that I love this country. That's why I want to be a citizen of it. I want to be part of it because I love it.
Good.
If a lot of people came here for the wrong reason. One is, they want to change it. The second is just they want to exploit it. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think most Americans don't like that. Most Americans are waking up to it too. Do it the right way. And don't come in and try to change this free country. Obey its laws of the land, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be a good citizen. Contribute to this country. Part of the things that, the government wanted to make sure, about me coming over here is that I'm not going to be a burden to the country.
Yeah.
My wife, had to have a job to support me because I won't be able to work for about 8 months before I get the work permit. Right? So they don't want me to collect any checks from the government. That makes sense. The country needs to keep its money for its people. Makes total sense to me. But not today. Today we want to send money to Ukraine a bit more, about $60 billion more, but neglect our borders. Right? There's no money to the border. The government actually fight the state of Texas, who wants to protect its border, which is our border.
Yeah.
What kind of government is this, right? The money goes into people, the immigrants that came here illegally. So much money. New York just approved what, $56 million program
Yeah.
to put money in the hands of illegal
Right.
immigrants. Like,
I've heard about it.
seriously. And you ask me, make sure that I'm not going to collect any money, from the government. They send them cards preloaded.
Yeah.
Credit card use.
Yeah.
Why? I know. Because they need more new voters. They plan to cheat again. Anyway.
Man, well, Koon, this was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
It was very good.
Yeah.
Loved hearing your journey from Smashing Pumpkins in '99 all the way to Earlsboro, Oklahoma, and
Yeah.
your thoughts on communist and socialist.
Dude, man. Yeah.
Real quick, what's your piece of advice to younger generation? What would you tell them?
Seek truth yourself.
Mm.
That'll be the one line thing. You got to seek the truth for yourself. Do it. Because if you just do what you're told, just believe what you're told, man, the end of this whole thing is you're not going to like it.
Right.
Study communism, study socialism, Marxism, study that. It's here. Most people just don't know it.
Mm.
It is here. Because it's not like a war that started, right? The war is not starting. It's slowly happening. It's been happening for a long time. We're at war.
Yeah.
So study for yourself. That's actually not for younger generation. It's also for older generations too.
Mm-hmm. Universal.
Yeah.
I like it. How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a person who speaks his mind.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You'll
I don't know.
definitely do that.
I don't care to be I cannot be always right.
Sure.
But I want to live free, and I want to remember that guy broke his mind.
Yeah.
And courage is contagious.
Agreed.
I want us to be brave, that we deserve to be on this land.
I like it.
Yeah.
Fantastic, man. 2024 is election year.
Yeah.
Koon Vega, look in the camera. Do you approve this podcast?
Oh yes, I approve this. Air this thing.
My name is Walnut, and I definitely approve this podcast. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stand, I won't be seated. Gonna hold my head up high and stay undefeated. Defining moments on this pod, 'cause I'm American by the grace of my good God. I'm American by the grace of my good God. American by the grace of